Hi, it's Rod, and this one's called God's Good Suffering Trials for Us. So it's like God gave me this vision of something like, the old Survivor TV show where people had to go through an obstacle course to win a prize at the end or something, and it was very difficult for them. Sometimes they worked in teams. Well, it's sort of like Jesus said, without me, you could do nothing successfully. And like Paul said, with Christ, I could do all things successfully. So it's like life is like a trust in Jesus obstacle course or a suffering love obstacle course or something to get some kind of reward at the end of it. So the vision was sort of like this obstacle course. I am supposed to try to run the obstacle course. And it's too difficult for me to handle by myself or win by myself. And it's like you got an enemy attacking you. It's like whenever you try to obey God, Satan tries to stop you, or evil people directed by Satan to try to stop you. It's sort of like Peter getting out of the boat to walk on the water or something. Help me, Jesus, to do this trial or something. This test trial. Do I trust in Jesus to help me to walk on the water or not? Do I trust in Jesus to help me to successfully deal with all these obstacles and suffering trials in my life or not? It's like life is like a faith in God school, or a how to trust in God, not you school. He wants to put us in situations beyond our control to handle so that we'll need to cry out for Him to help us and see that He can help us through these trials. So in the vision, it's like there's this obstacle course and I'm going through it, and whenever it gets too hard for me, I'm crying out, Jesus, help me. It's like in wrestling or something, like a tag team or something. I'm getting worn out. I got to tag my partner to come in with new strength to help us to win the wrestling match or something. Help me to handle the obstacle course, or me wrestling with Satan. It says that we wrestle against Satan or something like that. I need to tag Jesus. Help me. Satan's getting a good hold on me or something. We're not supposed to be able to resist the devil by ourselves. We're supposed to seek God's help to resist the devil. Jesus said, without me, you can do nothing successfully. Paul said, with Christ, I can do all things successfully. So life is like a suffering, love, survivor, obstacle course or something, which we can't win it by ourselves. We need the help and strength of Jesus to help us to successfully maneuver it and win the prize from it or something. It's like when you think of your rewards in heaven, you're thinking of suffering love gets the greatest rewards in heaven. They're like suffering love rewards or something. It's like I've had a vision of sitting on sort of like a throne in my mansion in heaven, and Jesus is coming out of some room that's called Rod's Reward Room or something, and He's bringing rewards to me to present them to me. It's sort of like every time I obeyed Him to do something good and loving in the earth, it's like I got a reward for it. And the more suffering I went through to try to obey Jesus, the greater the reward I got. So the rewards that there was the most suffering involved with them, they're the greatest rewards in my reward room. It's like Jesus saying about persecution or something. Rejoice and be glad when they persecute you, when they cause you to suffer. Great is your reward in heaven. It's like the rewards I get in heaven were for allowing Jesus to do something good through me. And He really delights in that. Rod, you let me do this good work and that good work. Here's your reward for it. He delights in the good works I allowed Him to do through me. And I rejoice in them too, because there's it's like a reward for me. It's like Jesus saying thank you for all the times I let him live through me to do good things or something. And I can feel that now. I can hear Jesus saying, I really like what you're doing, Rod. Keep up the good work. Thank you for letting me live through you or something. Make a truth teaching through you. Pray through you. Whatever he asks you to do and you do it, it pleases him. He doesn't get too many people in the earth allowing him to live through them, like Paul talked about. It's no longer I that live, it's Jesus who lives in me. So when you look at the different struggles and suffering trials in the Bible, whether it was Noah's trial or Joseph's trial or Moses's or Daniel's or Job's or Jesus or Paul's trial, they couldn't do it without God's help. Noah needed God's help to build an ark. Moses needed God's help at the Red Sea from an army. Joseph needed God's help in slavery and imprisonment. Daniel needed God's help in a lion's den. These were like these suffering trials they had to go through where they had to trust in God to help them through them, sort of like a suffering love for God survivor obstacle course. But Satan tried to stop them, but with Jesus helping you, tag teaming him like a tag team wrestling match, you can defeat Satan. Not in your power and strength, with Jesus helping you to do it. So it's like Jesus needed God's help to suffer and die on a cross. Paul needed God's help in a rat-infested prison or whatever. I need God's help with the sufferings of my life, whether it's this evil and suffering world I gotta live in, my back pain or something. Joni Eareckson Tada needs God's help in a wheelchair. But we don't have to try to deal with these things ourselves. If I had to go in a wheelchair, Jesus could help me through it. Produce something good out of it for me, for others. I can let Jesus produce some good out of my life the way it is now or something. Dealing with coronavirus or World War III or something. So there's lots of sufferings in life. There's a lot of suffering in biblical characters' life. But with seeking God's help, God's a very present help in times of trouble. Jesus said, don't worry about anything. Jesus controls it all. He's in control of the trials or something. Like it says in James, count it all joy when you have these various trials, knowing that as you go through them, trusting in God or Jesus, it produces a faith in God, which is more precious than gold to God and to you. And it gets great rewards in heaven. Like Paul says, he was sort of like in a race or something. He didn't want to get disqualified by doubting in God or sinning against God. If we choose to have faith in God and obey God, even through hard, difficult circumstances, like a Job experience. The Job experience is like a suffering love for God. Survivor obstacle course or something. Satan, always attacking with lie thoughts, doubts and everything. God can't be good if you're suffering or something. It's like a vision I have, like a whiteboard, and it has the words Rod's sufferings on it, and then it just lists the sufferings or something. And Satan trying to tell me God can't be good with all these sufferings. Look, Rod, coronavirus. Look, Rod, World War III. Look, Rod, back pain. God can't be good in this suffering world or something. Well, you got to not just listen to what Satan's telling you. You got to listen to what Jesus next to you is telling you instead. Rod, you have a lot of suffering in your life, but I can work good out of it for you. It's like a motto I have. It's a prophetic motto from Jesus. You have to live in an evil and suffering world, Rod, but I can help you through it, bring good out of it for you, make you happy in it, and help you not to be bothered by it. So we're supposed to be going through difficult and suffering. It's not supposed to be a health and wealth prosperity world. It's supposed to be Satan trying to stop you. It's supposed to be you got this cursed world to live in from Adam. But you got Jesus to like a wrestling tag team partner to help you. Jesus, I can't do it now. Help. Tag. And let Jesus do it through you, live in you. He doesn't want us trying to do these things. He wants us to say, Jesus, what you're asking me to do, I can't do. Walk on the water or something. You do it through me. Live in a rat-infested prison for a couple of years, write the New Testament. Paul, you do it through me. Whatever I'm doing in a coronavirus, World War III or something, do it through me, Jesus. That it's not about a health, wealth, gospel world or something. It's about you can have God's perfect peace and fullness of joy in a very suffering world, even if you're like Joni Eareckson Tada in a wheelchair. Even if you're like a Rod in a coronavirus World War III trial. It doesn't have to bother you. Jesus helps you through it. He controls it all. Jesus controls the coronavirus. Jesus controls my back pain. Jesus controls Satan. Jesus controls the satanic world empire. They can throw everything they got at me. They can put me in a fiery furnace. It doesn't have to harm me. Jesus, King of the universe, controls it all. Jesus decides whether I live or die or what I have to go through. And he likes putting me in difficult situations where I got to tag him. I got to trust him to win at the suffering, love, survivor, obstacle course. And get the suffering, love awards at the end. So that's a bit about God's good suffering trials for us.